Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. This is our Poetic Conversations, myself and Walim. He will be on the screen momentarily. And I'm glad to see you. We do this every once the first Tuesday of the month, and we just have poetic conversations. And so I'm glad to see y'all here. And I'm gonna make some quick announcements. Some of the good things got on going on in the community. Let's see. It's we have. Let's start you all this. This is our community connections segment, and so community connections is when I take anything that's out there in the community and I try to bring it forward and bring it to you guys. So what we have is we have a couple of things that are going on with some people in our community. And I got a blood drive going on. I'm trying to look for the flyer here. And let's see. Here we go. Not your average blood drive. This is presented to you by our sister school, and that's going to be April 7th, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You got DJ Frankie Ryman, and so that's going to be at 145 Brownell Avenue in New Bedford, which is on the west side of Buntwood Park. And so stop by, 9 a.m. to 1:30. I'm definitely gonna swing by there so I can donate to the cause. That's not the only thing. This one is real important. All right. Help our friend Marisol find a kidney. Says, hello, my name is Marisol Carrion, a resident and community member of New Bedford. I need a kidney. My blood type is 0 plus or positive. He said all blood types are needed and can help through the exchange program. So it says call Karen Guri, I believe it is, an RN, transplant clinical administrator at Boston Medical. The number is 617-638-8368. At 617-638-8430 is the second number. I did have another flyer. I'm going to have to look for that, and I'll put it on during the show, okay? But that's really, real important. I'm going to share it and kind of broadcast it until Sunday. All right. Let's put my good friend on the screen here. Walim, what's going on? How you doing?
All right, brother. Peace and blessings. How are you?
Peace and blessings to you. The Yeah, man. Anytime I talk to you, I don't know. I always smile. I'm always smiling. So, but I want to tell you, you give me that genuine smile that comes from the heart. I know you as a gentleman and a genuine person, and I just love seeing everything that you're doing. So,
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
I'm very fortunate to have you meeting with me every first Tuesday of the month, and I appreciate it.
Likewise, likewise. Appreciate. Always appreciate our conversation.
Yes. The So we have, I mean, and I say we, but I can't do anything but support you because I like everything that you're doing. Um, so what's up? What's up next? What's going on
Oh,
with you and the crew and everybody that's associated with you? What's going on?
well, let's see. Well, I guess we'll start with so the Groovalatos. It's funny because people say, "Oh, well, is the band still together?" Because we see you doing solo stuff, and what they don't realize is the Groovalatos are now basically in an executive producer
Mm,
kind of capacity because all of the projects, the solo projects that you see coming off of Polygroove Records, UIG has one coming in the summer. I have one coming at the beginning of the summer, and Womptronica has something coming out in the fall. And the Groovalatos will be slipping out a couple of records, a couple of singles in between also. But what what we looked at was, yeah, you have the Groovalatos, and we've kind of become, but the idea of the Groovalatos was similar to what we had with like Wu Tang or
hmm
with Parliament Funkadelic, where it's sort of like that is not just a band, but it's a progenitive force where other entities can come out of it.
hmm
What's happened is even if we do a solo project, the Groovalatos are still the executive producers, and as a group, we still have a hand in in the things that are going on. But so all of this to say, one of the things that we're going to do through Polygroove Records and in cooperation with Oversoul Theater Collective is that we're going to start doing listening parties when albums come out,
mm, very
and
nice.
but community based. We want to make sure the community is are the ones getting to hear the records first, and it's basically their feedback that is key.
hmm
So these are some of the things that we have going on that we're trying to bring to that we want to bring to fruition. But so like the first one is going to be, well, the first two actually in the New Bedford community. On this 15th, we're having one at Cultivator Shoals restaurant down on Union Street.
That's May 15th, right?
That's May 15th, correct? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. May 15th, we're gonna have the one at Cultivator Shoals at 7 o'clock in the evening. And that one is more like basically media industry kind
hmm
of thing. But for the community, we are doing one at the Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery right on Ashley Boulevard. And really excited about that because it's a chance to work with a black owned venue.
Wasn't
And
that a Kushner Avenue though?
Acushnet, I'm sorry, I'm saying Ashley, Acushnet Avenue. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. That's what happens when Mashpee people try to give addresses in New Bedford. but it,
hmm
but thank you for correcting me. Yes, it's on
Yeah,
Acushnet Avenue, 213
correct.
Acushnet
Yeah.
Avenue. And we're just really excited because that's a new, as I said, black owned business that's opening in New Bedford, and it's not just a store, not just a coffee shop, but it's a coffee shop and a gallery. So it's a cultural space
Mm.
on top of everything else. So just looking at that is so cool. No other
Yeah,
way.
it is.
But
It
that
is.
is so cool, and I was so happy because I was put in touch with them by Mr. Andre. um, Mr. John Andre, who does so
Hmm.
much community in the South End. And when I said, we're looking for a place to do this listening party, he said, "Oh, reach out to Miss Caldwell and talk to her about the Underground Railroad." And the cool thing was, by the time I called her the next day, he'd already spoken to her, so she was ready for my call. And
Yeah.
it was like, "So when do you want to do it? And what do you want to do?" And it's just like this is, I'm just like, this is beautiful. So just very excited and looking forward to the May 16th one in particular, and
Nice.
putting putting the word out to community folks to come through and pre-register. And it should definitely be a good time. It's as I said, having a label in the community, in the region, it's important to us to connect with this
Sure
community.
is.
That this is our principal and primary audience. So we have the listening party, like I said, that's going to be in May, and then we're going to have one in August, and then another one in September. And every month, third Saturday, we have the Thump and Soul session at Gallery X, which is basically an underground dance party. And there too is a wonderful community that's growing, because you have the New Moon Dance Party folks who throw a party the first Saturday of the month at the Co-Creative Center. I gotta tell you, their parties are fun.
Mm,
Have a really good time. Shout out to New Moon Dance Party. And then ours is on the third Saturday. And again, in the spirit of community, we first looked to see, well, wait, when you got, we want to do this. And we were like, well, wait, when do you guys do yours? Oh, you're the first Saturday? Okay, well, we'll be the third. So there's that cooperative effort going on.
yeah.
And,
That's
and
very, very important.
oh,
Very
yeah.
important.
Oh, and we share DJs too, because the DJs they've had guests at theirs, they've come through and played at ours. And we also have performers, a lot of regional indie performers
Hmm.
who
Yeah.
are who are coming through, and we're very happy. Very happy about that.
Yeah. My cousin Christian Speller, Perry Speller, she passed away. And she was very, very into the indie musicians and just artists rather, and she was really into it. And I I wish she was around just to, you know, because
Mm,
she would come in from California, from LA, and it was always based on some kind of musical event that was going on, so she can go and attend and even actually, play. And
okay, yeah,
yeah, so but her music is still alive, but
wonderful.
she passed away so young and so beautiful, so talented, and definitely someone that we need on this earth.
Got you.
I want to say hi to Jack McGee. He is always with us, and just want to say good evening, Jack, and thanks for joining us, and everyone else that's on YouTube, Facebook Live, and later on we'll be on Spotify. So thanks for joining us, and feel free. If you want to talk about something, add something in the comments. You have a question for myself or Walim, please put it in the comment section, and we will definitely put it across the screen so we can answer it. This is poetic conversations. Like we always say, any kind of conversation is poetic. It's just got to get involved in it, have some interaction. Go back and forth, listen and learn. It's just so many things you can do with a poetic conversation. Um, these listening parties, they're it's nice and it's great for the community because for one, it gets people in a venue, right? That
Hmm.
you know, and then it starts probably producing something where it can be more routine of going to these different venues because you can have a building, but if it's not filled, what's the sense of having it? And it's great real estate, especially the ancestors that we all have. Played right down the street from there at the band club, and So it's
Oh,
nice to bring some music. Or at the vets, there was just so many. So to bring that musical vibe to the community, it's hats off to you guys, and appreciate it.
thank you. Because we, you mentioned the band club and the legacy. Um, the Groovalados played there this summer, and one of the things that I got to share with the folks was that I had one grandfather who was a band leader,
Mm,
and he uh, played at the, his band played at the band club in the 40s and 50s a
very
couple of
nice.
times. But then my other grandfather worked for Joe Kennedy.
Mm, mm,
So
mm, mm.
he was also known at the
Yeah,
band because
that's it.
he was one of the delivery people.
Got to feed the family, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I explained that I have, I explained that I'm, and the funny piece is I'm not Cape Verdean on either side, but I have this double tie to the Cape Verdean band club
Hmm. Yeah,
on
yep.
both sides of the family. So that was really the big reason why I wanted to play there, was just because of the fact that I have a family legacy connection to the place.
Hmm. It's
And, and it was cool because it was two, so it was playing in my grandfather's old space and, my son playing in his great grandfather's old space. It was really kind of cool.
yeah. I wish you had got the taste of the back room, which we call the teak room, and the
Oh, I,
stage. The very,
oh, I did.
very.
Oh,
You
I
did,
did.
yeah.
Back in, I should, before I came back, because remember when I came to UMass in 2003, I was actually coming back to the area.
Okay.
Back in the same organization that we're doing Thumpin' Soul through and the listening parties, Over Soul Theater Collective, we actually first came to New Bedford back in 1997. We were working with Kepra and her sister Kelly
Yeah.
Ribeiro, and we
Hmm.
actually did the well, initially I was brought in to help them do the music for Colored Girls when they did that production. But I ended up being basically sort of like the coach for it because Kepra had never directed before.
Okay.
Most of the young ladies in the show had never acted before. And some of, it was sort of like they were having trouble getting it to come together. And luckily, that was my background, teaching theater, and especially theater for people who've never acted before. was um
Oh,
was an area. So it was kind of like, so I ended up basically being the coach for that. So that was how Oversoul first came to New Bedford. And then I ended up partnering with Carol McLeod at the Frederick Douglass House. He brought me in as the artist in residence. And that was when I ended up creating a youth theater program in the basement of the Boys and Girls Club with Robert Mendez.
hmm,
Yeah, they had that bowling alley that was nobody was using. So they just had this
yeah.
really parquet floor down there and nobody was using it. I said, hey, can I do theater down in the basement 2 nights a week? And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
And so we had a theater program, and again, some of the artists that you'll see around New Bedford now, Philip Ramos, uh,
Hmm.
Eva Brito, Rachel Gomes, James Stringer, aka Saya.
Yeah.
These and the late Justin Montero. These were all kids in my theater program when they were, middle school, high school, and in some cases early college age. But we were doing this in conjunction, and then I was doing stuff with Bobby Forts when he had the neighborhood college over there on Purchase Street, respect to the late great Bobby Forts,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
that was a remarkably dynamic individual. And
He was close to my family.
oh yeah,
Close family. He was a friend of the family. Um, my mom's first cousin is Dr. Bruce Rose, and
okay, yeah, yeah.
so him and Bobby were.
And a shout out and much love to Bruce Rose, because he was definitely a good person, especially in my early years at UMass Dartmouth. He was, very very sound ear,
Hmm.
and really just he's just really really good people. And
It's nice to hear. You know,
and
it's
he came back. So he came out of retirement and was back at UMass. And I was working at the Unity House, and I'm there like, do these students really realize how lucky they are right now
hmm yeah.
to have this gentleman, you know, available to them?
hmm
But yeah, no, Bruce Rose, excellent people. Um,
Yeah, he's
a lot of the New Bedford community that I got to know through UMass. Carol Pimentel, another excellent person. You know,
yeah.
always glad to bump into her every now and again
That's it. Yeah,
when I see her out and about town. But she was another great person to know there at UMass.
yeah.
But
There's so many. There's it's a great school. When I thought, I'll tell you a quick story. When I really thought about going back to school,
mhm,
and it was really really strong. Um, I wanted to go to UMass Dartmouth. I know it as SMU. So
yeah,
the but that was the institution that my stepson chose.
okay,
So I didn't want to go the same time he was. I want him to enjoy the college experience, right?
yeah,
I don't want myself to be coming around the corner and I just wanted him to enjoy it. So I thought about it and I ended up going somewhere else. But
okay,
it was but that's always dear to me. Um and was the craziest looking building growing up and it still is now, you know.
true, true story, true story.
Yeah,
First time I went to UMass Dartmouth, um, there was a dude who used to do a lot of programming in New Bedford, Mike Pacheco.
I
He
remember
had,
that name.
he had this organization, Positively Youth, and one of the things that I remember was he was doing a program. He and Scott Gomes were doing a program at UMass Dartmouth and brought me in to do one of the workshops. And it was my first time going to the campus. And I remember pulling onto campus, and my first thought was, my God, this place is ugly. It must suck to work here. And lo and behold, 6 years later, I'm pulling onto campus for my interview.
hmm
And I'm like, careful what you say.
Yeah,
careful what
yeah,
you
definitely.
careful what you put out to the universe. But I just remember that was. I will still say I've been there now for 20 years, and it's a hideous campus.
Yeah, sure is.
And yeah,
I craziest thing is I applied for a job there in 2018 and thought I was gonna be set for it was gonna be my second part of my life is be right there at UMass
yeah.
Dartmouth and just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. But I thought I had everything, all the bullets on the resume, but it didn't happen for me. But could you imagine that you and I would have been colleagues?
Hey, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, yep, yep. And so I by the way, Zig is so hilarious. That kid is, I hope you're taping everything that dude does, man, because he should be on TV. He definitely should be on TV.
Oh, he's a scream. He
He
definitely
is. He
he's
is, man.
he's
I
de-
am
and
really enjoy. I'm glad he allowed me into his life, into his social media, so I could see a part of him that I'm really enjoying and loving.
oh
He's,
yeah,
he's making me laugh every single day, probably. At least when he posts. His his uh his new material I love. I I, I listened to it quite a few mornings ago, and it's something. If it just sounds so great with earbuds in my ears, I'm
oh
not.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is nice, and so y'all did a great job again, um,
Thank you.
definitely. I was trying to get something from yours, and I was gonna ask if we can use it as intro music for Poetic Conversations. So
Oh, I mean, sure. If you
you,
know,
if you
you.
see some, you just, I mean, then we can add it to the studio, and then that will be our intro music.
Oh,
Because
bet. Okay.
so just let me know, and I'll let you do that.
Oh, I
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah.
That'll be fun. That'll be an honor. Thank you, sir.
All right. We while we were off screen, off air, you mentioned about a new project. You want to mention that?
Oh, most definitely.
All right.
One of the things that we're bringing to Gallery X and to the city of New Bedford, we're going to kick off a youth band.
Very nice.
Um, Basically, we're calling it a jam band. We're going to be working with funk, jazz, Afrobeat, and alternative rock, pretty much as the music that we'll be working with the students. It's for your well, grade wise, basically your ninth graders and up.
Mm,
It's also open to kids who are being homeschooled, so
okay.
that'll be a nice component for it as well.
That's very nice. It
We're
you
going to
never
hold. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you never know what that's going to start, right? It could be a very it could be a traditional kind of mentor program, right? As the kids
Oh yeah.
get older, more come in, and you continue to do that, and then all of a sudden, we all know what we have in this community. We just, everyone's kind of working on their own, and
Mhm.
but when you see the massive groups that are getting together, and then now there's you mentioned about leadership, right? Now you get
Mhm.
this leadership to do things. So I'm very excited.
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna be. It's definitely gonna be some good stuff.
Yeah, it's the one thing I like about all that is that's when you're trying to get things started, there's uh there's a lot of different festivals going on,
Oh yeah.
a lot of different things. So they may have the opportunity to kind of show their stuff, right for
Oh yeah.
the area folks, and that's great.
Well, what I've come to learn, especially in a place like New Bedford, is you end up having to create your own opportunities.
Hmm.
And which to me is fine. Great. We got we can do this. We can make this happen. But it's always been sort of because we've talked about this previously when we talked about the gatekeeper factor.
Yes.
And one of the ironic things is that what I realize is sort of ruining the gatekeepers is you now have this sort of gentrification taking place in New Bedford.
Mm.
And so, the Brown trustees, so to speak, are discovering that, yeah, you now have, so to speak, some new sheriffs in town who don't really regard them as, the go to.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, it's kind of interesting to see the gatekeepers are getting shut out themselves.
And that may be a good thing.
Oh,
Um,
it kind of is because what's now
uh,
happening is they're getting shut out, and the people who are shutting them out are now going to the people that they were shutting out.
mhm.
So I understand you have some ideas. I understand,
Yeah,
and like so it's an interesting dynamic shift.
yes, it is. Michael Samayo joined us on YouTube, and Michael, good evening to you. It's nice to see you.
It was good,
Um,
Michael.
yeah, that's my daily conversation right there.
All right.
We talk about many things from A to Z, and you know, so I heard him tell me something about a blog. I don't see much of it, but he needs to definitely do a blog on a routine basis because there's information he throws out there is very good. It's kind of a very great. He mentioned this stuff about a week ago about you know Yaki Way and conversations and talking about up there and um, sports conversations and so I told him, wow, that'd be a great podcast. But see, Mike Samayo's not a gun shy. He'll come on a podcast in 2 seconds, but the other party wasn't. Um, so, but I'm always looking to throw a podcast up. I wish I could do this every single day.
Hmm.
Um, it's it's great. That's the one useful thing I got out of the pandemic is this podcast.
Hmm.
Um, the
Yes. Oh,
um, go
one
ahead.
other. I forgot to mention one other thing that we have coming up. We uh May the 4th,
Yep.
we have a massive music dance party going on called Dimensions.
Hmm.
And we're partnering with the New Moon Dance Party folks. So down at the Co-Creative Center, you're going to have underground dance music, house music, rare groove, EDM, etc. But then at the exact same time at Gallery X, you're going to have bands like the Conspiracy of Noise, the Groovalados, the ZYG 808, Wamptronica, solo acts like Ruben Walton, like Shadow, New Bedford's own Shadow Man is going to be
Hmm.
rocking that night. And for folks who aren't familiar with Shadow Man, I tell you what, come to the Thump and Soul session on April 20th because Shadow Man is going to be rocking that show also. But Shadow Man's going to be on the 4th. I'm going to be doing my solo act on the 4th. Um, we have I don't. Some people might be familiar. There's a band on the Cape called Funktopus, and the lead singer from that band, Latez is going to be doing his solo stuff at the show. So May the 4th is just going to be that kind of live music in one venue, EDM in the other, crawling dance party around New Bedford. You know how we do.
Yes. Very nice. It, that's going to be nice. We gotta figure out how to constantly videotape all this. Be,
Well,
be
Oversoul just bought a video camera,
okay, good.
and
Because the reason being is we and I know you thought about some brainstorms down at the cable access, but we definitely got to bring a lot of these different productions and shows to cable access.
yes.
It's available for us, and I would have no problem.
Well, that's by the way, I should mention that's happening also.
Okay.
I've been working with Chops Turner, and we're getting ready to launch a new program that'll be a monthly program called Thump and Soul Power.
Hmm.
He's going to be the host, and what we're featuring basically are your regional acts and artists.
Okay.
So we're going to
Perfect.
have singers and rappers and comedians come on the show and do their thing and get interviewed, and we're going to be filming it out of Wareham, and
Hmm.
filmed and produced out of Wareham, and then we're going to distribute it to New Bedford and to Dartmouth and the stations on the Cape, and
Very nice.
build up the viewership, and definitely want to have you on to come do your poetry.
I love it. I wanted to recite something today, and I just couldn't choose what I wanted, and so maybe next time. But
All right.
I am very very pleased with the invitation because I got to do more of that, and
Yeah.
I'm writing every day, and it's just building up, building up, building up, and need to get the word out. What a poetic poets can do, and that's I need to do more of that. So please keep inviting me, and I'll make sure I'm there.
Okay. Okay. Definitely.
All right. The I speaking of poetic poets, I'm actually going to be working with uh, to what is it, Writer RX, Writer We RX University, and it's run by Tanisha Curtis down in Atlanta.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so I'm going to be doing a couple of my books that and get them published and do an audio book. And I'm really getting involved with that. There's some opportunities for me to kind of spread the word and get some other self-published people involved in it, and use that. I mean, they're just amazing. How many people and how many authors that they're putting their material out, and just trying to make sure that self-publishers don't get ripped off.
Hmm.
Um, and so, but it's Writer We RX University, and
Well,
so.
I'll tell you, it's really kind of funny we talk about with because when you teach at a university, they frown on self-publication. So I had to find a publisher for my novel.
Hmm.
The funny thing that I came to find out when I did get the publisher, they get their books printed in Lakeville.
Wow.
There's a print shop in Lakeville, and they're actually like one of the, I think they're called Country Press,
Hmm.
and they do like the books for Scholastic and everybody.
Awesome.
And so, it's sort of like if like a local author or something was trying to get their book printed, I'd go talk to them first.
Hmm. Very nice.
Because
That's nice to know. Very nice to know.
yeah,
Um, I have I've been using I went back to lulu.com, which is where I basically first started out with
oh yeah.
them. And so, but I'm gonna check out
Another one to look at is Ingram Sparks.
hmm,
They're
yeah,
another one. They're another one that are basically print on demand. But the cool thing with Ingram Sparks is they can get your book in like Barnes and Noble, and they also
very
do, because one thing for self-published authors, unless you only want to sell your book through Amazon, do not get it printed through Amazon.
yeah.
A
Hmm.
lot of, because then what will happen is people go through Amazon and then they'll try to talk to Barnes and Noble, or they'll try to talk to some of the independent bookstores, and a lot of, obviously Barnes and Noble is not going to deal with the competition, so they're not going to take the book, and
Makes sense.
a lot of the a lot of your bookstores will not order POD from Amazon.
Hmm.
Ingram Spark, on the other hand, everybody will take up Ingram Spark book. So you can even get into the bookstores that won't take most independent publishers.
Very nice. Nice to know. I need to know that. This mind of mine is just going a mile a minute, and it's just I have so much creative stuff in my head that and I just need to just get it out there. I joke around and say I could do a book a month, and it's so true that I could
Oh,
um,
oh yeah.
very very easily. And so if I can get all this stuff down packed and where it's second nature, I
Well,
made.
I'm gonna
Go
tell you
ahead.
what I tell my students. What you want to do is identify your best time of day to write,
Hmm.
and then you want to identify your best place to write, and then every day you want to write for 2 hours
Yeah,
at that time and in that place. You want to write for 2 hours every day. You'll be amazed at how much you can get done.
yeah. It's it is one thing is once I'm so ingrained in it,
Hmm.
things are just coming out of my head. So yeah, pictures, conversations, anything, even musical lyrics that something comes up and I just it just catches my eye. You know, um, I was who was I listening to? Well, I'm always listening to Marsha Ambrosios, and she just her lyrics are just crazy. But I Gil Scott, uh, what's his name? Uh, he says he was mentioning about we almost lost Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's powerful. And I heard it before, but I really paid attention to it. Whoops. Um, and he'll be back on the. So I was listening to him, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's all right.
Sorry, I lost signal for a second.
No problem. Well, I was listening to him,
Mhm.
and when he said we almost lost Detroit, and I'm thinking about our country in a whole, and it says we almost lost America, and I started thinking about everything that's been going on, and so hopefully that comes out. Um, I wrote a few lines, and I really want to finish it up, and so I'm gonna start working on that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
but no, music and pictures and man, they inspire me so much. So in fact, when you do your events, right, those listening plays, it just I'm probably gonna leave there with at least 20 different poems,
Oh
right,
wow.
in
All
my
right.
head, because I'm gonna just think about the atmosphere, you guys playing up, and it's just gonna bring so much out of me. Um, and so I can't wait, cannot wait.
Nice. Nice.
May is gonna be a good month for me. That's for sure.
Excellent. Okay, yeah. I'm looking forward to it because I enjoy reading your stuff. It became part of my morning reading habit.
I appreciate it.
Was to check out your poetry on the stuff you post on Facebook and so forth.
Yeah, I'd like when I normally when I especially when it says what's on your mind, right? Facebook gives you that generic phrase, and then I put thinking and writing, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
and all I want is people that are friends and family on Facebook just to send me something, a picture or something, and I'll just write about it. And what that does is that it's not expected,
Hmm.
that picture, and now it challenges me to write something.
Got you. Yeah.
And and I just love doing that. I love it. It just keeps me on point. And so, but I got to start putting thinking and writing up there, and kind of write for our friends out there.
Hmm.
The So what's going on this week for you? Just work? What's going
This
on?
week, this week work and doing some promo setup. Uh, the one of the things that happened this week, Wamptronica landed a contract with one of the true school, as I can call them, house music labels
Hmm.
from back in the day, who's actually now making a comeback.
Okay.
The name of the label is 8 Ball Records. And 8 Ball is a label that started in New York City in like 1990. Back in the early 90s is when I first encountered them. They grew out of a record store called 8 Ball Records.
Hmm.
And I remember this would have been back in like 93. There was a DJ named Jazzy Nice who spun at a set in New York called Giant Step. That's where I knew him through. And he took me to 8 Ball because he knew I had some demos. And he was like, man, so he took me to 8 Ball, introduced me to them, like, man, you really need to hear this guy's stuff. And that was when I met the guy who ran the label division, Alex Kaplan. And he liked it. He just said, it's not quite our kind of thing, but it's good. It's good. It's just not our thing. And it was like,
Hmm.
cool. and ended up going basically in a somewhat different direction musically, because I started doing more session work and like underground jazz type stuff, and they were doing like straight ahead New York house.
Yep.
Well, fast forward to I run across Alex on Facebook, and I just finished some of the material for the Wamptronica's album, and this particular album we decided we were going to do house music and that sort of classic New York Paradise Garage style. And so I see Alex, and knowing that that's his thing, I was like, "Hey, Alex, you want to hear some of what we're doing?" So I sent him, and he was like, "Oh, you guys looking for a label?" And I said, "Well, no, we're actually have our own label. We have Polygroove Records."
Hmm.
And he said, "Well, I tell you what." He was like, "Are you down to do some remixes?" And I said, "Sure. What you got?" And there's a record from the house music record from the '90s that's called "You Don't Have to Worry." The artist's name is Blue Jean. He was like, "You're familiar with this one?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, from back in the day, in the days when I could stay awake for 3 days straight." I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that record." And so it was really cool. He ends up then sending it to us. Our manager negotiated this one for us. And once everything was done, we were able to do the remix, and it should be coming out in about a month's time. But yeah, the Wamptronica remix on "You Don't Have to Worry" is going to be out on 8 Ball Records.
Can't wait. Can't
All,
wait.
all, all of which to say it took like 30 something years, but I finally put out a record on 8 Ball.
Yeah.
And,
It's
and the part that was really touching was Alex in the press release said, Wamptronica is part of their return to greatness. That just felt
nice.
good. That just really felt good. But
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
It does. We I'm gonna have to steal that press release and kind of put it on the page and
Oh yeah, I'll get you. I'll make sure you get a copy.
yeah, it's
Incidentally, by the way, I have some stuff for you. We have festival bags. We have Wamptronica festival bags and Thumpin' Soul festival bags. I still have your Groovalato T-shirt. We have
yeah,
a
it's
we have a whole bunch of stickers, and one of the pieces of merchandise that's coming is ZYG 808 is going to have his own beanies,
mm,
and
nice. I need one. I'm
and-
actually my hair is growing on the top of my head
okay,
like no tomorrow, so I gotta definitely you know
yeah,
I like to keep it covered and but I want it to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow.
actually,
Um so definitely we'll get a few of those beanies, that's for sure.
oh yeah,
Yeah. I'm actually let me let me get up for a second. I'm gonna show you something. All right.
all right, I'm
You
right here.
you can talk, have a conversation.
Okay. So let's see. As I was saying, so May 4th is going to be Dimensions, and that's going to be massive concert dance party, Gallery X, and the Co-Creative Center on Union Street. So it's a crawling dance party. And April 20th, May 18th, we're going to have the Thump and Soul session. Those are third Saturdays. Second Saturdays, I forgot to mention, but second Saturdays in Onset. Now, if you are from New Bedford, that means you have relatives who live in Onset. So therefore, you can go to Onset to Bebo's. Um,
Nice
quiet as
place.
it's kept, quiet as it's kept, Bebo's used to be Valentes. And you can pretend you don't know what Valentes is, but I saw most of y'all in there back in the day, right there with me. So anyway, Bebo's, which used to be Valentes, is on Onset Ave in Onset, and every second Saturday we host a thing called the Jam, which is basically a musician jam session. So that's a chance for all the guitar players and horn players and singers and bass players and drummers to come on out and jam with us.
That's real nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that place. I have these tumblers. I don't know, it's kind of bright, but it says the Really Charlie podcast on it.
Oh, word! All right.
And so and the brainstorm around these tumblers are help me out with the documentary that I'm doing on Keith Francis,
Okay.
Boston College athlete. He tried out for the 1976 U.S. Olympic team, um, and he just missed qualifications to be a representative of that team. So,
Oh,
oops, and so he passed away a few years back, and
oh, okay.
so I'm trying to do a documentary that's organic and original, with some great conversations from family, friends, and some people that he mentored. Um, and so I already started a couple of interviews. There's a production company that's going to come in out of Boston, and going to have them situated somewhere. I may have to go to um, the co-creative spot and see if I can use that for a day.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Probably about six hours, and just do some interviews. And now this is all done under the name of the uh, Wind Down Productions, which is
Okay.
owned by Berto Carter from WNB1 Radio.
Oh, all
So
right.
so Berto is he's also has some brainstorm, some other documentaries that he's going to be doing.
All right.
The thing is I wanted to basically get that going. I wanted to kind of dibble and dabble with it and get this down packed before I start doing interviews for Berto's documentary.
Okay. Yeah.
And so with Keith Francis, he's just it's so easy for me because he was my mentor. So getting and getting people to interview and talk about him is going to be very easy for me. Um, so why I just want to let everyone know that Wind Down Productions is now going to be doing things like that and doing some
Nice.
interviews. And oh, speaking of
Well,
good good dude, brother Joshua saying peace, big brother Charlie. I gotta get you two have to meet. You know,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
you two have to meet. He's very Joshua's a good man, good father, good human being.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
so what was you gonna say? I'm sorry, cut you off.
Oh, no worries. Basically, what I was gonna say was, if figure out what date you want to do it, we could try to get you in Gallery X.
Mhm.
Use the Frederick Douglass Gallery possibly as a place to do interviews because they have the stage
I
um
totally forgot about that.
and the acoustics are good and
That's even a better idea. Yeah, that's a better brainstorm right there.
yeah,
All
because
right, so I'm gonna do that.
one of the reasons why we residenced Oversoul there was it's an underutilized space.
Yeah, it is.
And especially their new executive director is very keen on getting more BIPOC activity
Hmm.
in the
And
place.
that's good. That place is so dear to me because that was the funeral. That was a place where the funeral of Andre McCoy was.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
so and with me writing the book about him, I just I when I go there, I look at it and I admire it as if it was one of my kinfolks. You know, the Gallery X's just means so much to me. So I take a lot of pride in it. Believe it or not, every time I walk by, if I see a piece of paper out there, I pick it up, throw it away. You know,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
it's really very dear to me. So I am gonna etch that in stone because that's the location that I think that would be perfect. It would actually be perfect.
Let's make it
So
happen.
yeah, I'm gonna get a lock down the date. So these tumblers, what these tumblers do is they're going to produce the revenue for me to pay for this production company to do the interviews.
Okay.
And so As I sell the tumblers, it goes in a kitty, and then finally, when I have the money to get these folks to come down there, I could say, here, boom, here's the money. Let's get started. Um, the interviews are going to be done by a few people. Um, they're going to be done by myself, Berto. I We haven't got an official um, acknowledgement by Jasmine Vasconcelos and Derek Demers. They're going to also do some interviews, and so it's going to be nice. It's going to be. It won't just be Charlie interviewing people. It's going to be a few others. Get a different voice out there, and that's
Oh,
that's what I like. So you posted on February 20th, April 20th, the Thumping Soul session, 9 p.m. at Gallery X, and also on May 4th, Dimensions Concert and Dance would be at 9 p.m. at Gallery X and the Code Creative Center, which is on Union Street, New Bedford, downtown New Bedford. Easy
and
find.
I'm
You,
about to throw another one. Um, Thunderchild listening party, which will be which the illustrious Charlie Perry is going to bless us as our master of ceremonies for that event.
it's gonna be. I'm gonna drink a lot of water. I want to make sure my voice is good, and I can't wait. That's gonna be something that
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna keep on my shelf. Um, the let's see. Um, I don't see it on this end.
Oh, it's coming right up.
All right. Actually, what we're gonna do is next show, we are gonna give you access to everything that I'm doing. You're gonna have it on your end too.
Oh, word. All right.
So we're gonna get that straightened out too. Let's see, May 16th, Thunderchild listening party, 7 p.m. at Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery. That's at I believe it's 213 Acushnet Avenue, New Bedford, Mass. Directly across. The intersection would be Russell Street and Acushnet Avenue down the south end. Can't miss it. A beautiful red brick building, a storefront there, and you can't miss it. It's a great place. And as you said, 213 Acushnet Avenue, and that's the location. Um,
And also to shout out, you mentioned Zig earlier.
mhm.
He went to Sunshine's place right next door when he was in kindergarten, first and second grade. That's where he went after school. So, shout out to Miss Jackie, aka Jackie Winos.
Yes, Jackie is a sweetheart, and she's always looking to kind of make that next person shine, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it starts from the little kids and it moves on to her friends and some adults. So what Jackie did for your friend here, Charlie Perry, is she is now putting me on the New Bedford Historic Society.
there we go. There we go.
And I am so excited about that because there's so many things, so many stories, so many things I want to try to get out there and let the world know about the history of New Bedford and all of the people that have passed through here. We all know about Frederick Douglass. We all know about Sergeant Carney. And it just goes on and on. There's so many people. I tried to last year on Black History Month. Every day of the month, I try to put something out there on the podcast, about someone from New Bedford. That was instead of me taking these national names, when we talk about Dr. King, which I did talk about, and we talk about everyone else on a national level. And I said, wait a minute, there's some Black history here in New Bedford that I should talk about. And I just went on, and you know what? I covered every single month every single day of the month
Mhm.
with some kind of story, and
Nice.
that meant a lot to me. And most of the information that I I was able to get was from New Bedford Historic Society.
Mhm.
So,
Nice.
but yeah, see, it's nice when the community's all interacting with each other and doing things. Zig gets to see Sunshine's Place, and you
Oh yeah.
know, I talked about the underground railroad cafe and the memories that I have at that place. It's it's great.
Oh yeah.
We got to have more conversations like that. I
Definitely.
wish we had some folk stories where we can all just kind of talk about things, from all parts of New Bedford, and just um, all parts in music, right? And
Yeah.
just talk about it.
Music and the arts, because you had mentioned the band club and the teak room,
Yeah.
um, and I started and we went into a different direction. But so the youth theater that I was running out of the Boys and Girls Club, we did our play at the band club in the teak room. So it ran for 2 weekends
Hmm.
in the back room at the band club. And funny story, my assistant teacher at the time was Tim Blessed.
Yes. A great friend of mine.
Oh yeah, good guy, good guy. And so we were, so we had the show going. There was well, 2 nights that I couldn't be there. I had a gig in New York, so I left Tim to run the show.
Hmm.
And apparently, that Friday night was the night that the kids decided to do the R-rated version.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah.
mean, they
Yeah.
were high school age. They were, well, like
Yeah.
the only one who wasn't high school age was actually Philip Ramos.
Yeah.
Everybody else was high school age, because some names again people are going to know from around town. People know James Stringer, aka Cy.
Hmm. Yeah.
He was one of the people in the production. People know Eva Brito. She was in that show. Philip
Yes.
Ramos was in that show. Rachel Gomes was in that show. So Chris Duarte was in that show. So
Hmm.
a lot of names people from New Bedford are going to recognize. These were the kids in that show. And I made it for the Sunday. I made it back, and I made sure I got to the Sunday matinee. And I remember the Sunday matinee, they had apparently brought, I guess, like a school group. So it was mostly, and I remember the teacher from the group comes and she's like blasting, because she was apparently there that Friday night and was there
Hmm.
blasting kids. I said, okay, first you're going to hold up.
Yeah.
I'm the leader of this particular program. If you have something to say to these kids, you say it to me. If you
Yes.
have something to say, anything to say about the theater or anything or any complaint or any question, you say it to me. You do not address my kids.
Yes.
And she's like, well, I know. I said, I don't care if you know them or not. While they're here, these are my kids and my responsibility. You do not address them like that. I said, now, first of all, the show that they did Friday night was an adult show. This is a kid show, so it's going to be different. They don't need you to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
just go sit in the audience. You just go sit in the audience and enjoy the show.
Exactly.
but it's funny because I saw you reposted my thing from earlier, and
Hmm.
it came out of a conversation where coming back and sometimes dealing with folks in New Bedford, I have to remind myself, even though I pretty much left there when I was 18, my formative years were in the Bronx.
Yes.
And I'm very Bronx. I realize this,
Hmm.
and so there are certain nuances that I've learned about New Bedford that are sort of like, to me, counterintuitive. But it's like, okay, because when you're talking about the work together factor,
Yeah.
um, it might sound funny, but the construct in the Bronx is far more cooperative than what I find here.
I agree.
And what I posted earlier was when I said I grew up in the Bronx. So my feeling is, if you're not with me, you're against me. And that's how I'm going to regard you. If you're not with me, I'm going to regard you as you're against me.
Yeah. Yep.
And in New Bedford, it's kind of like, oh, just because I'm not, with you. I said, if you're not with me, you're against me. Period.
Yep.
If you're not my friend, you're my enemy. And I realized that's a very Bronx mentality.
And but it's important, right?
Yeah,
And the reason why I say it's important because it, believe it or not, it adds some discipline to how you're moving, right?
yeah,
And it's like, all right, I got no time for that. I gotta go. See you
yeah,
later. All
yeah.
that all that ish you're talking, and guess what? I gotta move on. I got things to do. I have the people that are with me. We gotta have a conversation, and I'm not gonna waste this shallow conversation with you because you're not with me. So
Well,
move aside and let me go. And
well,
it's so
there's
important.
there's that factor, but and this was said by a person from New Bedford. They said that New Bed, not everybody, but a lot of people in New Bedford are very good at throwing rocks and hiding their hands.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
I think KRS-One put it best when he said, "I'm the kind of cat who'll lead a crew right up to your face and diss you." That's me.
Hmm.
I'm
Yep.
not gonna smile. I'm not gonna smile in your face and shake your hand. Meanwhile, I'm looking where to put the knife. That's not my style. It's
No.
like if I'm cool with you, I'm cool with you, and behind your back, I'm cool with you. If
Yeah.
I'm cool with you in your face, I'm cool with you behind your back. If I'm not cool with you behind your back, I'm not cool with you in your face. I see no
I,
need to be.
yeah. I
You
agree.
know, I'm a I was raised with that level of integrity.
Yeah, and it's good. It's definitely good to be that way. Um,
Oh,
you know, let's say maybe 5 years ago, I just basically have this discipline that I'm gonna move away from all bad vibes. I'm just gonna move away,
and
um,
that's the best way to do it.
and not turn around, and I'm about face, and it's like, see you later. I got no
Mhm,
time for that. And found out that I become very good at it, and
mhm.
but anyways, it's I will never turn my back on you. You got me
Likewise,
for a lifetime, and
likewise. You were very much one of my people, and from the day we met. So that.
yeah, back at you, same thing.
So,
Um, we're gonna we're gonna see all this through, and basically that philosophy that Brooklyn Bronx, was it
Bronx,
Bronx?
yes,
Bronx
Bronx. Yeah,
Bronx mentality is definitely gonna
I ain't
be
say
in.
I ain't say anything about robbing anybody. No, I'm kidding. Anybody from Brooklyn? I'm just kidding. I'm just.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, the Brooklyn version is if I ain't down with you, I'm robbing you. Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
well,
Um,
even Jay Z says it in what's that song, "The Death of Auto Tune." He said, "I'm so Brooklyn, I'll snatch your chain" or something.
mhm. Yeah, oh man, actually, some of them heavy hitters, all getting tied into that P Diddy thing, man. We gotta definitely have that as a poetic conversation, coming soon, and talk
Well,
about all this.
well, it's an interesting. Again, something I posted the other day as I was, looking at all of these things that are happening. I was kind of laughing in a way about it because I'm like, I had people offer me record contracts,
Hmm.
but then as I'm like looking at conversations and expectations, I'm like, okay, I know what backdoor conversation sounds like. Nah, I'm good. I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
all set.
Yep.
And it's sort of like so people are when I'm like, oh no, I was offered contracts and I didn't take them. People are like, oh, you're lying, you're lying. Nobody offered you a contract. Nobody offered you a contract.
Hmm.
Um, I won't use a name. There's a singer from the Bronx. who, according to the statements of now a very active singer who's been dropping info left and right,
Mm-hmm.
um, she basically noted that this singer from the Bronx was walked in on performing a certain act on a
Mm-hmm.
mogul in exchange for a demo.
Yes.
Now, the thing that had me laughing was for a demo.
Mm-hmm.
Demo. And the thing is, I know dude, and I haven't seen him in years. I have not seen him in person in years. But I want to see him now in person so I can just be like, for a demo, really,
Yeah.
really for a demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's amazing.
I'm like, I was at least offered a three. I was offered a 3 record deal, but they just offered, and I'm like, they offered you a demo and you did it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it for a record deal, and you did it for a demo. What? No, no,
Yeah.
no. It's not my style at all.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
but when you consider how normal that is, I mean, let's look at that. Let's look at Diddy. Let's look at what's his name, the dude who used to be on Head of the Class, who then became a producer on Nickelodeon.
Um.
Dan, what's his name? The one
Oh wait.
who they found out was like pretty much molesting all the kids
Oh
on that
my God.
channel. And
I can't think of his name.
Dan, because the thing is, they were making fun of him then on Nickelodeon cartoons when they were with like SpongeBob would reference Dirty Dan, and
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about him. I'll get you,
Yeah.
Dirty Dan,
Yeah.
and that was who they were talking about. Well, you think about stuff like that. You think about R. Kelly. You think about Harvey Weinstein,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the reasons why I've been an independent artist for so long is because you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. So true.
But the thing is, that is so much the norm in that business. And
Um.
it's one of the reasons why when Zig was like, I want to go into music, I was like, okay, so here's the independent route.
Good advice, right?
Because
Good
it's
advice.
here's how to control your narrative. Because we said his first lesson in the music business was I got him a bucket. He had a cocktail, the drum kit you can play standing up, the cocktail
Yeah.
drum.
Yeah.
He had one of those. So I got him a bucket, and I first took him up to Harwich and had him play out in the street. And he ended up making like about $200.
Hmm.
And I said, that is the music business in the purest form.
Yes.
You're an artist and people show appreciation. That's really what I said. That translates to you make records they like, they'll buy the records. But the thing is, this is how you put the art form in their face. So I was basically using that as the way to give him the complete education. I remember early on, he was very much into hip hop, like all kids are. And he was looking at rap, and I realized, okay, the best way I can, what was it we used to say in the city? I can show you better than I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So got him into one of the showcase units down in Atlanta. And that was a rude awakening for the young man.
Yeah.
And he, this is where he realized, well, I really kind of like Afrobeat and hyper
Mhm.
pop a little bit more, because and I think the other telltale sign was the Sunday morning that we were in Atlanta. That was going to be the last night of his performances, but the Sunday morning, that was when they announced that that rapper Juice World OD'd.
Oh wow.
And this was one of the people he listened to. And so all of this on this weekend, I think just gave him a very different picture, because I remember the first place we performed, I realized as I'm looking around, I'm like, oh wow, this is a strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have strippers that particular night, but I'm like, okay, so this is a strip club on other days. Well, that's good to know. Saturday, it was really funny because we went to we were there. The name of the club, the first club we played was a club called Knockout
Yeah.
in Atlanta, and that was when, like I said, it's a strip club. And the part that also makes it funny is I'm not used to nightclubs being in a mall, like a strip mall.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so that to me was just kind of weird that a nightclub in a strip mall. Okay,
I get it. Yep. It does. It doesn't have it
this is.
doesn't have that feel, you know. It doesn't.
I felt like it felt like, and the thing was, it feels like you in what used to be Bradley's or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the second night, we were given an address in what was basically like a suburb of Atlanta, and it was like, okay. So I remember giving the address to the Uber driver, and she said, "Oh, you going to Jonesboro? Oh, this is going to be an
Mhm.
interesting party." And I'm like, "Oh, wonder what that." So we get to this address in Jonesboro, and it's a it's a venue where basically they throw like kids parties,
Okay.
and I'm wondering, is this the right place? And when we get inside, I'm seeing the people who have the tickets and the wristbands are also selling weed. I'm like, okay, yeah, we in the right place. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so we end up going. So Zig was on like third artist in. And as I'm looking around this, and the guy throwing the event was going to film his music video. So he was going to film it there with all of the artists with him. So the video was up, it's been taken down, but Zig was in a video, Atlanta trap video. He had a guest appearance because he was standing right next to the main artist in the scene.
Hmm.
But the part that made it really funny was, so he's the third performer on, and I'm sort of just looking around the club, and I go to the ball jump. I'm like, oh, they got the ball jump open. Naive, stupid me. I go to the ball jump. Ball jump is full of strippers. I'm like, wait, okay. And then so I was like, okay, well, let's look over here. And as I look over to the other side, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the video game room. So I pull the curtain
Hmm.
and it's a bunch of women doing lap dances.
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
like, well, and the part that had me laughing was Zig at the time was 17,
Yep.
16, 17. And 'cause this was before the pandemic. And the thing was, he was not the youngest performer in the room. That was a part that really
Hmm.
kept me tripping. But it was like every place you look, a stripper is bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
So when he finished his performance, I remember he looked around and I'm like, okay, so I've got my kid in here. And it was funny because you also had an element that reminded me of going to like hip hop parties in the Bronx back in, like back in the 80s and whatnot. So
Hmm. It
uh,
it's
it,
uh it's amazing because they had some places like that in LA.
yeah.
When I was there in middle school years.
Okay.
They were all over the place,
Oh yeah.
wherever you thought something was an old band in the building, but given an hour or so, lights were functioning, things were going on. They knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, Neighborhood mechanics came out and everywhere, and they did their thing, and
Yeah.
so and the person that put the party on made a lot of money that night.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
I wasn't talking about that side of the Bronx. What
oh
One of the guys there had misplaced his cell phone.
yeah,
And instead of it just being, I misplaced my cell phone, he and his crew were trying to pat people down like they stole the cell phone.
yeah,
And much respect to the guys throwing the party because they shut that down immediately.
hmm,
They said, if your dude lost his cell phone, we'll help you find it, but you're not patting people down.
no, no,
And one of them tried. It was funny because one of them tried to then get loud with the guys throwing the party, and all of a sudden, 20 dudes pop up and are like, "What?" And
you got to protect your money, right?
and the thing was, it turned out they found old boy's cell phone. It was under one of the chairs he'd been sitting in. So if he'd like gone there, he'd have just seen it.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Um, Walim, brother Joshua puts in a comment that he's willing to talk.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
well, that's when we were talking about P Diddy and all that. So
Yeah.
we're,
Okay.
we're gonna have to say that for next month, and
All
I'm gonna
right.
invite him on, and then we can talk for a length of time. Let's see, because I think in another 30 days, things are going to come out that are going to be a whole lot different than what they're coming out now. And I think we are going to have a great conversation. So
Well,
if you,
there are a bunch of things that are going to come out, but I kind of the statement that Suge Knight made.
mhm,
He said, "This isn't about Diddy. This is about the people. This is about the more powerful people Diddy's protecting."
yeah, exactly.
And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right."
Yeah, and it's going to get heavy, and I'm uh, I'm ready for it. But that might be the poetic conversation that puts us in a different direction for that night. So I think let's kind of keep that in mind, and
Yeah, yeah.
as we're hearing all these stories, kind of jot down some notes, and I'll actually invite Brother Joshua on, and we'll talk about it for about 40 minutes
Oh yeah, oh
because it's
yeah.
going to probably bring that. It's I know how Joshua is, and so he's going to come with some facts, and it's gonna have a nice conversation to it. So, um, but if it's something you don't want to do, then you let me know too. If it's not a conversation you want to talk about, we won't talk about it then.
Oh yes.
So, um, all right.
Yeah.
Um, we got a minute 21. I mean, sorry, an hour and 21 that we've been on the air. Is there
Oh
anything
wow.
you want to add?
Ah. Um. Let's see. If people listen to music on streaming services, if you go on Spotify and Apple Music, look up Womptronica, look up the Groovalatos, look up the ZYG 808, and I'm in under MWalim, DaPhunkee Professor, and you can find our music. And if you're on Spotify, we have a playlist called the Thump and Soul Essentials that has all of the artists on the label who have material out. You can find their music on that playlist. So, in fact, I'll put that in the thing. And if people wonder why when we talk about Thump and Soul, this is something that's been years in the making. When I went to Britain in 1990, I discovered that Britain doesn't subdivide music the way we do.
Hmm.
Britain has a pop chart, and the pop chart consists of exactly that. What's popular? So it was interesting to see like hip hop and rock and pop and jazz and underground dance music all on the same chart.
I love that.
So you had like De La Soul and Public Enemy, and then you had like rock groups. You had like I'm trying to remember who the big rock groups were at the time, but they were all on the same chart, and
That's interesting.
that would be unheard of in the United States.
Yeah, yeah,
And so Thump and Soul is trying to when we talk about Thump and Soul, we're trying to recreate that notion of what is the music that makes you feel good.
yeah, definitely.
And so that's why we call it Thump and Soul. So if you could be doing punk rock, it's Thump and Soul. You could
Hmm.
be doing heavy metal, it's Thump and Soul. You're doing hip hop, it's Thump and Soul. You're doing rock and roll, it's Thump and Soul. You're doing R&B, it's Thump and Soul. You're doing jazz, it's Thump and Soul. You're doing gospel, it's Thump and Soul.
I love it. Um, it's it's the way it should be, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the way it should be. At least I wish it was. The the that playlist I definitely didn't listen to yet, and I'm surprised. But I will definitely that will be tomorrow's to do list,
All right, all right.
and I'll be completing that from the beginning to the end. The definitely gonna check that out. Um, Walim, this has been great.
Oh
I
yeah.
always love sharing this time with you. And throughout the week, you need me, you know how to get a hold of me. And everyone out there that's listening and joining us in this poetic conversation, you know, on Spotify, YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe the channel. Join the Really Charlie podcast group on Facebook, and check out everything that we're talking about from the playlist, the Thumpin' Soul Essentials on Spotify. Just check them all out. Everything in these venues, these listening plays that are coming up. You know, I'm gonna keep feeding it to you. I'm gonna keep putting it on the live. I'm gonna keep putting it on the news feed on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything I possibly can to just remind you that look, come on, come join us. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with this man right beside me. He is doing some amazing things, and guess what? You know, you'll eat, you'll listen. You know, you'll be feeding your ears with some great music, and I cannot wait. So,
Oh
all
yeah.
right.
Just one thought to leave them with.
Mm-hmm.
Album Thunderchild that comes out in June is my answer to the question: what if RZA and Pete Rock collaborated with Jimi Hendrix and Muddy Waters?
Hmm. I love it. I love it. I Muddy Waters. Oh my God. That's hey, his Muddy Waters' daughter, or one of them, I think. I think he's got several. But she's a spitfire. That girl's a good interview. I've
Mhm.
seen plenty of interviews with her, and she definitely got her dad's back, and she protects everything that he was associated with, and definitely good advocate for her father and her family. So, but on that note, my brother, listen, um, this is a great time. Our show is something I look forward to every single month. So, but
Likewise.
I'm gonna add you with the host capabilities for the next show.
Oh, all
Um,
right.
so
All right.
you should get something that's where you accept it, and but you'll be able to, like, you may want to talk about something, or you have something on your browser in front of you, but you want to share it.
Okay.
And all you can do is just click down, share it, and then it becomes part of the screen. So I want you to have that capability, because there's a lot of material you probably have in front of you that you wanted to show on the screen. So instead of you sending it to me, I put it on the screen. You'll have all that access. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm about to leave just some information for everybody in a format that they'll let me do because they don't let you put hyperlinks.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of split it up a bit. Let's see if that works. No, they won't let me do it that way either.
No. Okay.
If you if you go well, if you well, I'll put it like this: if people will have it posted on the different sites. If you go to like the groovalatos.com, that'll be one of the ways you can access it. But
Yeah.
anybody out there who has kids who play instruments and want to become part of a band and get some more formal experience and playing with an ensemble, Oversoul Theater Collective is creating the Oversouls, which is a youth jam band. We're looking for drummers and bass players and horn players and keyboard players between ninth grade age and up who want this experience, and parents who want this experience for them. It's going to start up in September.
Good. Good. It's yeah, I spell that right.
Yep.
All right. That's in the comment section. It could start you off. But like I tell everybody, look, start from any one of these links or this website, and everything else is just gonna it's we're gonna show you where to go. Waleem shows you where to go. Everything that he's associated with is in every single post he has. So once you get on one of those posts, there's gonna be an index right there. All right, let me check this out, check that out, boom, and you will know his story, their story, and but can't wait for all this stuff to happen.
Gonna be
All
some.
right,
It's gonna be some fun stuff. We're gonna try to make this a fun place to live once again.
yeah, it will be, it will be.
I mean,
So, all right, my brother, bless you. And you need me, give me a holler. And
most
thank
definitely. Likewise, you know the same. You need me, just give me a yell.
All right. And everybody, thank you for joining us. This will soon be on Spotify. Probably, I'm not going to do it this evening, but I will probably have it on Spotify tomorrow. But you can find us on YouTube, Facebook Live, and don't forget, get on Spotify, listen to that playlist of the Thumpin' Soul Essentials. All right, my friend, you have a great night, and I
You,
will.
you as well, brother. Peace and blessings,
All right.
and to
God
all
bless.
you and to all your listeners, thank you.
Yes, our listeners, right?
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
our listeners, definitely.
all right, brother.
And thank you for what you do, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do, making people shine. And that's the way we should be doing it. Let's make
So,
each other shine. All right.
all right, brother. Peace.
Take care. God bless you. All right.